Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Morgan. This is my channel Pisces Paperbacks, and today I want to talk about the books that I want to read next month for Sci-Fi September. Sci-Fi September is a readathon that was created by Sajid from Books Are My Social Life and is also being hosted by Jesse from Bowties and Books, two people whom I subscribe to on BookTube, and it's just like encouraging people to read more sci-fi. There is a bingo board, which I will put up here. I will not be following the bingo board. I find that unless it's romance, I really struggle with readathon stuff when there's like really strict prompts or prompts at all, really. So I think I'm just like gonna be general. I also want to say I have like 7 or 8 books on the list that I made for myself, and I don't actually expect to read all of these next month. I just don't want to spend all of my reading time trying to like do a readathon. I just want it to kind of like be sprinkled in. So when I was making this list, I was like, okay, so these are the sci-fi books that I'm most excited about right now, and I would like to read them soon. So this is kind of like an end of the year sci-fi TBR for myself. Kind of. That's how I'm thinking about it anyway. So let's just dive right on in. Okay, so the first book I want to talk about is like I don't actually think it's sci-fi. This is more like an honorable mention, and that is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. And this I think is not sci-fi because it's like more horror, maybe, but I know that the main character copes with trauma by believing that she and her hedgehog toy are aliens. So I just was like, aliens, that's sci-fi, right? I've heard strong things about this book. I don't want to say if they were good or bad because it seems to just bring out very strong emotions in people, but I'm excited to read this one, and I thought I'd just mention it just in case it was sci-fi. I don't know. So the first real book on this list is Starsight by Sanderson. This is the second book in the Skyward series. I read Skyward in 2019 and loved it, like really truly loved it. So I don't know why it's taken me so long to read the sequel, which I did buy like when it came out. So since this is a sequel, I can't really tell you about the plot of this one, but if you're interested in Skyward, the first book in the series, it is about Spensa, and all her life she's wanted to be a pilot, but she is the daughter of someone who defected during a battle, and like that brought immense shame onto her family. So she like is kind of an outcast from this community, and it's about that and becoming a pilot and like going to pilot school, and I really, really loved it. I'm looking at my list now and realizing that I did not like look up the synopses of these books before doing this, so you're gonna get my best guess for some of these. So the next one that I want to talk about is Persephone Station by Stina Leicht. This book came out in January of this year, and honestly I just want to read it mostly because it has a beautiful cover. Like I would say this is an intensely beautiful cover, and I believe this is kind of like a space western almost, like there's like some sort of like saloon owner, and I'm just interested in that. I don't really like westerns, but I do appreciate a lot of like the tropes of westerns. So yeah, I think this could be a good one. I just want to add something to that little western comment I made. When I say that, I mean like I don't really care about like cowboys and like old-timey spaghetti westerns, but if you've ever seen the movie Hell or High Water that has Chris Pine in it, which is an amazing movie, by the way, I had to watch it for my sociology class in school. I consider that like a modern western, and I loved it, you know what I mean? So highly recommend that movie, but also I don't really care about like traditional Western aesthetics and themes and vibes, you know? Anyway, next I want to talk about the whole Ice Planet Barbarians series. So I read the first Ice Planet Barbarians book earlier this year, and I have a hold on the second one, Barbarian Alien, from my library. So this is by Dixon. It is a romance series where a bunch of women were kidnapped from Earth by aliens, and then their ship crash lands on this like frozen wasteland planet, and when they are discovered by the aliens there who live on the planet, they resonate with them. So in this world there's like soulmates. So when you meet someone that you're extremely compatible with, you like resonate with them. I love fated mates tropes, so I love it so much. So I really loved the first book. I've heard the second book isn't quite as good, but I'm going to read them all in order, even though I don't actually think you have to, but I'm going to. Next is Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. This is the second novella in the Murderbot Diaries series, and I read the first one a couple months ago and loved it. It's so good. It's about Murderbot, who is a security unit, and it has hacked its own programming to give itself free will. And in the first book, it kind of solves the mystery with like a group of humans that it's supposed to be protecting. And then at the end of the first book, like, it kind of goes off on its own a little bit. And the second book is another installment in the Murderbot Diaries. I don't know what this one is specifically about, but I am very excited. Up next is Space Opera by Catherynne and Valente. This is a space opera. I'm pretty sure it's pitched a lot as like Eurovision in space, like a singing competition in space between like different galactic races. And while I've never actually watched Eurovision in, you know, on Earth, I understand what the vibe is. I've also heard complaints about this book that it goes off onto a lot of tangents, learning about the different like alien species, and that like you learn about a lot about them, but it doesn't always matter to the plot, and that bothers a lot of people. I love when books go off on tangents like that, so I am hoping that that will be a winner for me. Next, I want to read The Vanished Birds by Jiminez. This is a time travel book, not particularly time travel, but I think it like messes with time. I gotta be honest, I really don't know what this book is about, but Sage read it and they loved it. So when I watched their vlog when they read it, I was like, oh, I want to read that, and it's been on my want to read list ever since. And then last on my written list, and then I've also just thought of a couple that I want to mention, is Do You Dream of Terra-Two by Temi. This one is another space one. I think there's astronauts or like space explorers in this. Again, I'm realizing this is a terrible TBR video. I don't know what any of these books are about, but it has a great cover, and it's like available for download on like my library app, so we'll see. There's two 2021 releases that I want to mention. I don't know if they're both out yet, and again, I don't have a good synopsis for you, which is horrible because like I just could have brought my laptop downstairs and looked them up, but I didn't bring my laptop downstairs, so I can't look them up. But the first one is Gearbreakers, which I think just has like an amazing cover, and that's really the only reason that I was drawn to it. I don't really remember what the plot is. And then the other one is Iron Widow. This I know a little bit more about. It's like a mecha sci-fi where they like control giant robots, and I followed the author on Twitter, and every single thing she tweets about it makes me want to read it more. There's like a power throuple. That's really all I needed to know, and I'm just so excited. It just looks so good. So that is my sci-fi TBR, Sci-Fi September hopefuls, and just generally things that are science-y that I want to read. I hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize again for not knowing what any of these books are about, but I will have links to all of the people that I mentioned and all the videos that I mentioned in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!